Hey, what's going on, guys? So this review is going to be on the Lucky Craft Kelly Jordan KJ Flat. Obviously, it's a Kelly Jordan signature bait, and as far as the bait is concerned and where you can get it, it seems like it's an exclusive bait to Bass Pro. I haven't been able to find it really anywhere else, and in fact, I don't even think Lucky Craft even has this bait on their website. At least the last time I checked, it wasn't even on their website. So really neat crankbait. Kind of stinks you can only get it at Bass Pro, but I mean, I guess that's pretty cool for Bass Pro Shop. The bait looks like it comes in two sizes. The bait that we have here is the 1.5 size, so it has a length of 2.5 inches, has a weight of 3/8 of an ounce, and it has a diving depth, according to Bass Pro, of 3 feet. Now, again, you're going to see a lot of characteristics that are the same between the other two baits that I'm reviewing, as far as the shallow diving Little John from Spro and the Jackall Bling. You're going to see a lot of the same characteristics between these three baits here. So they're all shallow diving, flat-sided, really subtle style crankbaits that are all kind of small and light in nature. This bait weighs in at 3/8 of an ounce. I tend to believe this bait weighing in more at 3/8 of an ounce than I did at the Jackall Bling. It does seem to be a bigger crankbait, and it does feel like it's a little bit heavier. I didn't feel like it casted exceptionally better by having that extra weight on top of it. I mean, the Bling says it's 3/8 of an ounce, but I think it's more like 5/16 of an ounce. And I didn't feel like that the KJ Flat casted exceptionally better than the other one. So as far as the bait is concerned, as the name suggests, it's a flat-sided crankbait. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a comparison between the LC 1.5 from Lucky Craft and the KJ Flat here from Lucky Craft. Now, on their profile, they look very, very similar. I mean, they kind of have the same style of body to it. In fact, another comparison that I can make is the Takahiro Mori LVRTO from Lucky Craft. Their lipless crankbait looks exactly like this as well. But when we flip them on their side, that's where the difference lies. You can actually see that the LC 1.5 is a fatter, more rounded crankbait, and the KJ Flat is obviously very flat. So so it's going to behave a little bit differently in the water, where the LC 1.5 is going to have this really nice wide wobble or nice wide swimming action to it, where the KJ Flat is going to have that same style of swimming action, but it's just going to be more subtle. It's going to kind of, instead of having a wide swinging arc to it like the LC 1.5 has, this is going to be kind of like right in here. So even when you're actually looking at it on a retrieve, sometimes they almost look like they're just sitting still. I mean, they just move that subtly. When I pick up a flat-sided crankbait, I'm thinking finicky, cold water. I mean, you can use this lure in a lot of different situations, but for me, and I think for its design purpose, I mean, it doesn't even have a rattle to it. It's just like the Spro, or it's a silent bait. Everything about this bait just screams finicky, subtle. I'll use the word finesse, if you will. It has the black nickel-plated hooks. They're a little bit larger than the Jackall Bling there, and they're a little bit heavier of a wire as well. I don't know if that's going to be consequential to catching fish, because I'm still going to use this bait on a 4-power, just so I can get the bait to cast out there, because it is a lighter bait, but it has the same kind of hooks that the LC 1.5 has. So it's those big kind of heavier wire hooks that you'll see on some of those square bill crankbaits. Now, the other thing that you're going to notice, it has this fiberglass circuit board lip. They describe them as circuit board lips, but it's just a fiberglass bill on there. And if I can get a focus, I'll show you exactly what we're talking about here. So you can see kind of like the striations and the fibers running up and down and from left to right there. I don't know if it's necessarily a stronger or more robust crankbait because of that bill. I think that they probably put the bill on there because it's going to behave slightly different in the water. It's going to do something a little bit differently than having the standard plastic bill that you'll find on like the LC 1.5. But as far as the bill is concerned, it is that thinner style bill, being that it is a fiberglass bill. I'm not going to be necessarily throwing this bait in heavy cover because it doesn't have the same characteristics of a square bill crankbait, or even the same kind of deflection qualities of a square bill crankbait. The bill angle on this one of the 3 crankbaits is the steepest pitch of the 3 crankbaits. You'll look at the Spro. At the Spro Little John here, you'll see that the Spro Little John's bill kind of shoots more straight out as opposed to the Spro Fat John, where it kind of goes in that downward angle, kind of like the KJ Flat. Also, we'll look at the Jackall Bling flat-sided crankbait. You'll see that it does the same thing. It shoots more straight out, where the Jackall Aska has that same kind of downward pitch to it as the KJ Flat, or even the LC 1.5. So it does have some more, this bait in particular, the KJ Flat, is closer to a square bill crankbait in its characteristics of it than the other 2 flat-sided crankbaits that I'm reviewing, but I'm still not going to be throwing this bait in heavy cover. I mean, it still has that rounded bill on it. It's not necessarily a squared bill. It does have squared angles on the corner there, but it's not a squared bill crankbait. You'll look at the Spro. It's probably closer to it, but it still doesn't have that really wide arc to it. You can see that this has a more aggressive circular arc to it. Man, I'm making a mess here. Let's get this organized here. And you'll look at the Jackall Bling here. You'll look at the bill angles on there, or not the angle, but the leading edge of the bill there. You'll see that the Jackall Bling is straighter there, but still kind of rounded there. So again, they all kind of have the same characteristics. Of the 3 crankbaits, I found this bait to dive the shallowest, which is not surprising considering the bill angle. The bill angle has a lot of influence on where the bait actually dives. As far as the diving of the bait, it has a really slow float to it, just like the Jackall Bling, just like the Spro Little John does. They all have that real slow float. Again, this bait, everything about it, with the no rattles, the really light, smaller profile, and the slow float to it, just screams cold water finicky fish, kind of finesse style. Let's see if we can coin a term, kind of finesse power fishing, where it's power fishing in the sense of you're using a reaction bait, but it's finesse because it's small and it doesn't have these really aggressive wobbles or dynamic movements to them. So, but it's a really fun group of crankbaits, and I'm going to plan on getting some more. There's some other ones out there from some other companies that I'm going to review out there here in the next couple months. They're all kind of just a really cool little crankbait because they act so differently. I like to talk to people about them as far as like when you talk about this, and I'm going to talk more about the Spro Fat John versus the Spro Little John, and really put a lot of the differences to rest there so people can understand what we're talking about between those 2 crankbaits, because they're not the same. Just like this bait and the LC 1.5, they're not the same. They're different crankbaits. They behave very differently in the water. So, and like I said, the bait didn't have exceptional casting distance or anything like that. I'm going to be staying outside on the weed lines. I'm probably going to be only casting this thing maybe 60 or 70 feet, underhand roll cast to kind of help the management of the overruns on the bait casting spool, because I'm not going to be using it on spinning gear. Some people might choose to use it on spinning gear, especially like the Bling or something like that. But for me in this crankbait, I'm sticking to a 4-power crankbait rod. So as far as the colors are concerned, this is TO Shad. You can see that it's it's kind of interesting, TO in Takahiro Mori, but you can see it's a signature Kelly Jordan bait. So it's a Kelly Jordan Takahiro Mori Shad. So you'll see the top of it kind of has a little bit of purple glitter to it, and just a whole lot going on here. I'm not going to try to describe it here to you guys because there's just so much going on. It's got this really bright gold glittered shad dot to it. Kind of just looks like a thread fin shad, but just on crack, if you will. I mean, there's just a lot going on here. You can see that it says KJ Flat 1.5 there on the bottom. Really neat little crankbait, very nice. Everything you come to expect from a Lucky Craft crankbait. Here's TO Shad. The next bait is T.O. Craw. As it turns out, I like the crawl baits, especially the crawl shallow diving crankbaits and such, so I picked this color up as well. Matches obviously very well to the T.O. Crawl in the LC 1.5, so, but that really gives you a very good comparison there. So you'll see it says Kelly Jordan there on the top in the signature. The two supposed to be crawdad eyes, I suppose. I like how Lucky Craft paints their eyes on their craw baits like that. I think that's kind of neat. So got the orange belly. So there is T.O. Craw. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys before I forget a measurement here. From the rear ring to the front split ring, or the hook or the front line tie, it's going to be about 2 5/8 inches. I don't know if you can see that or not. So it's obviously a little bit bigger than the Jack All Bling. So really nice little crankbait. Definitely not a square bill crankbait. Think finesse when you're using these crankbaits, you guys, because that's kind of where they're going to be suited the best. If you guys like the video, please hit the like button down there in the lower left corner. Really appreciate that. And stay tuned for the last review. It's going to be on the Spro Little John. Thanks a lot, guys.